Hi everyone, it's Julie from Candle DIYs. Today I'm going to be making a seashell candle, which I thought would be a simple and fun project to do. Be sure to also visit the blog post linked in the description for the supplies that I'm showing in today's video. Now, just a little tip, the very first thing I did is I filled the shells with water to see where the leaks were because I knew there would be maybe some small holes that I didn't notice. So once I found the holes, I glued over the holes with hot glue so that they would be plugged. The holes weren't in spots that would be too noticeable on the finished candle. So while I'm sure there's a better way to plug the holes than hot glue, that was just my quick hack that I did. My original idea was to create candles out of these little conch shells that I have, but then I realized I also have some of these other little shells that aren't really going to be much of a candle, but I thought it would just be fun to try out. Maybe have a cute little display piece rather than like a functional candle that you can actually light because they're so small. So we'll see how that turns out. Step number 1 is to attach the wicks to the candles using the wick stickers. So peel off one side of a wick sticker, stick it onto the bottom of the wick, peel off the other side, and then stick it to the shell. And it is going to be a little clumsy on uneven surfaces such as seashells, but just try to do your best. And the wick stickers are going to help hold the wick in place. Next is to string the wicks through the wick holders, and this is also going to help the wick stay in place, stay upright while the wax is hardening. And this was definitely really tricky to get it to stay balanced and upright on the shells. And in hindsight, I think something like an egg carton would have been extremely helpful for this project. Now I'm going to put the wax into my double boiler, which is just a little bit of lightly boiling water in a pot, and my soy wax flakes in that metal wax pitcher. The water doesn't have to be boiling too hot. It's a very small amount of wax, so just some lightly boiling water will work fine to melt it. And because, like I said, it's such a small amount of wax, I'm not even going to bother measuring out the wax flakes. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. The wax shouldn't take too long to melt, but stirring it can help the melting process move a little bit faster. Now, I also made the last minute decision to add some jasmine fragrance oil. And again, since these candles were so tiny, they're not going to actually burn for that long if I burn them at all. I just eyeballed the amount of fragrance oil that I use. But just a note, a good candle scent ratio is 6% to 10% fragrance oil, anything within that range. And 6% is going to be an extremely light scent, and 10% will be your kind of typical strong store-bought scented candle. And when measuring that, you want to remember to measure in weight and not volume. So if you want to add fragrance oil, stir that into the melted wax, and then pour your wax carefully into your candles. After you've poured the wax into the candle, you just want to set it on a level surface so it can dry. Again, this is where an egg carton or something similar would have really come in handy, but you live and learn. Allow the wax to harden for a few hours. Something as small as this, that is, will only take a few hours, but larger candles will take overnight. And once the wax is completely hard, use either scissors or a wick trimmer to trim the wick to about 1/4 of an inch. And here is the final result. It looks like only one of the small clamshells came out really nice. The other two, I had to scrape a little bit off the top to kind of attempt to level it off a little bit. 2 of them look pretty nice. One of them doesn't look great. But that's what it's all about, experimenting and seeing what you can come up with. And then these 2 little conch shells, I think, came out really beautifully, except for the one with kind of the off-center wick, but that doesn't really bother me too much. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the results there. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thanks so much for watching.